Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut 2. Hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So we're going to have the draft later on today, on Sunday, and hopefully you'll be there for me telling you what's going on, Major League Baseball in the draft, and the New York Mets in the Baseball Hut. But I thought this was interesting. It's talking about sports radio, which is a big thing with me. It's always been a big thing with me. Sports radio is kind of dying, and we're going to find out what an ESPN guy, former ESPN, Dan Patrick, what he thinks about this. Again, from Awful Announce, they find all these tidbits. I think their site is great. Dan Patrick calls out sports radio's broken rating system. Quote, nobody cares. They care about social media, what went viral, the number of people watching clips. That's right. Dan Patrick says the quiet part out loud about the state of sports radio. Now, sports radio is in big trouble. Talk radio is not. But sports radio is in big, big trouble. Dan Patrick says the quiet part out loud about the state of sports radio. In the same interview with Barstool Sports, Part of My Take, in which he revealed he nearly had Who Wants to Be a Millionaire before egregious filming, while alleging that ESPN ran a smear campaign on his way out. Patrick offered a blunt assessment of where sports talk radio stands in 2025. And if it feels broken, that's because it is. For someone with as much credibility and tenure as Patrick, it means something when he hits the panic button. And he did just that by speaking candidly about how the metrics of success have changed in ways traditional radio simply can't keep up with. I never really looked at, like Pat McAfee with YouTube, Patrick said. Those numbers, that's really all that matters. And I've been with terrestrial radio all my life. And you keep thinking of those ratings. Those ratings. Now, nobody cares about that. They care about social media, what went viral. Their own people watching clips. And that's what you guys have been able to do. You know, McAfee's been able to do that as well. Now, that's the one thing I've noticed, especially over the past year or two, is that talk radio has invaded our space here. And this is our space on YouTube. YouTube's supposed to be about independent people, not industry people, coming in here and trying to dominate. And that's what they're doing. It's very concerning to me, and I've talked about this. On the other hand, they're doing terribly on the radio, but on the other hand, here they're doing well. And it's very concerning for your host. Because a lot of people don't understand that they're being used and aren't getting they're just seeking what they know from the past. So instead of listening to a radio show, they're watching a radio show, putting out the same garbage, same corporate garbage that they've been peddled for 35 years. I give it straight. I give it straight here from an independent perspective. What Patrick is getting at is that sports talk is no longer judged by how many people tune in live. It's now about how many people share it afterward. That's the terrain where Part of My Take and the Pat McAfee Show have thrived. For better or worse, that's the game now. The game is viral reach, it's comment sections, how fast a segment moves on TikTok. Whether you think that's good for sports media or not, ultimately lies with the beholder. While purists might cringe at the theatrics or absence of journalistic standards, that's not what trends in an algorithm-driven landscape. And you can manipulate the algorithm. That's concerning. There's a lot of manipulation that YouTube is doing. It's trying to push out independent creators. Talked about this a couple of weeks ago about the YouTubers Clownfish and, of course, the quartering, aka the punching bag. Those people have big channels, and their channels are being sucked. Their audience is being sucked away from them. Also, another concern is AI. AI is starting to come onto this platform, and to me, that should be banned. AI should be banned on this platform. No one should be able to create these videos of these actors from the past and then having them next to the role that they played in the movie and having them walk down a runway like Saturday Night Fever. It's very bizarre. But those people watching those videos, thinking that this is, and they're making money off of it, and it's sucking away. Not that I do that, but I'm just using that as an example. Very strange. Quote, I still don't know, even Patrick said, they just tell me, like, one day they're going to say, hey, come here, bring your playbook, you're done. And it could be something random like that. We'll be in the market and they'll go, you're killing it, but you want to go local. And I go, what does that mean? So then you're not an affiliate in Portland, Maine? Meanwhile, you thought you were doing great in Portland, Maine? But it's not just the ratings that frustrate Patrick. He also takes issue with the people interpreting them. He takes aim at management types and decision makers, many of whom in his eyes are out of touch with how the job actually works. People evaluating talent often haven't done radio themselves, and that disconnect, he says, leads to decisions that make no sense on the ground level. That's true. We've seen it with WFAN, that use them as an example. There's some people that shouldn't be on the radio. They shouldn't be there. I'm not going to point any names out. You can figure that out for yourselves. I don't like being beholden to that because, face it, you have a lot of people who are in radio who are your bosses who probably haven't done radio, said. And I think it's unfair sometimes when they project to what you should be doing or why you aren't doing or why didn't you ask. When you're in the chair and there are live bullets, it's just different. And that's the problem right there. Decisions being made in boardrooms by people who never had to fill dead air. And that's the thing. Two, is that these corporations are putting all this dreck on YouTube, and this goes across the board. Every genre you can find on here, they're putting this stuff out. Now, the sports media is a little behind, because 5 years ago when I started doing this channel and just doing my channels, I really was the only one out there, and I was the only one talking about the Mets. I mean, really, for the most part. I've been pretty consistent about what I do here. Now, I have this channel here, but where I talk about general random stuff, and I do just for my own sake, If it does well, great. If it doesn't, that's cool too, But that's how I look at it here. And like I said, I'm independent of any kind of corporation. I'm not associated with any gambling, rackets. I know there's plenty of big YouTubers out there, more popular YouTubers that are all in bed with the gamblers. Who's behind all the gambling? Probably organized crime. Organized crime has never gone away. Or even worse, the government involved, But, see, to me, what's concerning to me is this AI is concerning, and these corporations, and I have to worry about the athletes now coming into YouTube, which is supposed to be about you. It's supposed to be about me. It's not supposed to be about some like washed up ball player, like Adam Ottavino, or some washed up player like Trevor, who was never any good, other than getting to the majors and being in the majors, like Trevor May. He's a good YouTuber as a baseball player. And Trevor Bauer, he was on this platform a long time, long before any of those clowns were on. Obviously, he's got his own issues, but just to point out that he was an anomaly. Now they're all coming in here. I was like, you guys, and also mentioned Jerry Blevins. He's also on here. And you can't find a more uninteresting, unfunny guy, and they make him out to be like the funniest guy. The only thing that's interesting is that the same name as Jerry Seinfeld, the comedian, But other than that, that's the one thing. And I'll say it like it is. I'll say it like it is. I'll say a player's good, not good. Even a player's not, not around. And this is not personal. Me saying that Trevor May is a good YouTuber as a baseball player, that's, look at his numbers. And Adam Ottavino is done. He's toast. This is why he got a YouTube channel now. We saw it. But he's got a YouTube channel. Well, he doesn't say anything interesting. Interesting. He doesn't. But he's going to say what the corporate message is. That you'll get from any other baseball player, former baseball player, that wants to be in the club. That wants to be on the MLB Network. That wants to be on ESPN. That wants to go on Fox Sports and yuck it up with Kevin Burkhardt, who's a major jinx for the New York Mets, by the way, But that's how I look at it. So to me, it's concerning because I didn't have to worry about this 5 years ago when I started out doing sports on this platform. And that's why I'm going to different platforms, trying to expand the audience. Facebook's pretty good. X ain't that great, and the Substack's okay, but this is where I make most of my money. It's here. But if everything's getting wrenched away from me to the corporations and to Major League Baseball because they're pissed off that somebody like your host is doing it, well, too bad. I'm going to tell Major League Baseball and anyone's watching or Major League Baseball, I'm not going anywhere. So you're going to push me out of here. I'm not going anywhere. Simple as that. But but on the side of sports radio is done. And that's why you see guys like Kevin Evan Roberts doing his little podcast, horribly named Rico Bronya, on here. It was just a regular podcast, but because I'm on here and criticize them every day, on hammering them and hammering them and hammering them, they had to do something to sort of suck the audience away from me. You know. And again, if you want independence, you want to follow this channel, want to follow me, or do you want to keep following the same nonsense, you know, over and over and over again? That's up to you. But like I said over the last month or so, I'm not going anywhere. I said this to WFAN. I'm not going anywhere. MLB, I love baseball. There's no reason to push me out. I'm not going anywhere. I will throw out the first pitch at Citi Field long before Frank Fleming will. And the fact that the media's put him out there, I don't care how much weight he loses. He could lose another 900 pounds. He's still a jerk. He's still a goofball. He doesn't represent any of us Met fans at all. I can keep going, but I'm not. So anyway, you let me know what you think about this video, and of course, please subscribe to Baseball Head 2, and I'll see you later.